Yeah, Chris, if you could just start off, just 5 o'clock, it's a bit of a strange one really, isn't it, in the afternoon, midweek, loan window closes. Can we expect anyone coming in?
Well, we're working as hard as we can and looking at all the options that we possibly might have. And at this minute, if we can do something and it's right, then we will do. But certainly, as regards, I think what we have in a squad, then we've got a squad that's very competitive, and they've proved all season that they are competitive. And if it ends up with the squad that we've got now, then that's something I'll be very happy with. But we are working as hard as we can, and we will do right through till 5 o'clock, because sometimes something materialises where it possibly hadn't before.
Is it specific? We've touched on this before about position, striking, maybe a left back position. Are they the key areas that you're looking at specifically?
I think probably in reflection, yes. I think because of I suppose the two injuries that we've had, the two sort of longer term ones, in Sam Baldock being a striker and of course Gaeton in that left back position. But I said on any opportunities, firstly they've got to be right. And they've got to improve the squad, and I say if that is the case, then great. But certainly if it's not, then we have a squad here that's showed all season, as I said, that they are competitive enough.
Richie Towell and James Wilson are two names that you've
Yes.
been linked to. I know you probably don't want to comment, but obviously they're sort of out in the public domain at the moment. What can you say about those two names?
Well, I think as always, and of course it's not the first one, I've had a couple of radio interviews and names of course been thrown in. We are working very hard, and we will bring in what we regard are the right players. We are in a period of time where there's lots of names going to be thrown in and lots of speculation. And I think always the best way to deal with it is to announce something that has happened. I think we've been around long enough and been in this position enough times where you think possibly maybe something might happen and it ends up not happening. So, but we are working very, very hard, and the speculation, I think any speculation means that we are putting word around and we are trying, but it's not always the case. So at the moment it is very much speculation.
In more general terms, what's your view on the loan window? Does it work? Is it something you'd like to see kept?
Yes, I think you I think what you always have to look at, and irrespective of what league you're in, there are always going to be teams that are in a different financial bracket than others, and that's just the nature of the game. And what you have to do, you always have to try and compete the best way that you can. And if I look at us in this league and having fared so far quite well in this league, there are teams that would have certainly have spent heavier than what we have. There are teams that would have, of course, the parachute payments and so, but that's just part and parcel of the game. So I think there are clubs that I think need the window and the market more than others, and I think we always have to be respectful of that. So overall, yes, I am. I think possibly there'll be some changes. Well, we know there'll be some changes come next season, and then of course teams have to work around that one. But some teams have used the loan market very, very well. Others not so well.
Chris, do you feel that if there hadn't been so many injuries, you may not have done what you've hinted at by looking at bringing in loan players? You said you weren't a fan of it that much before.
Yes, I think probably for where we are at the moment, from an injury point of view, and the fact that you're going into a heavy part of the season, and the thought of perhaps picking up injuries, then yes, it's one that is the reason why I would look into it. Initially, what we wanted to do at the start of the season was hopefully get to a situation where we didn't need to bring Annie in, and we'd got to that point. But also it's about the right players, and even though at the start of the season, you know, we wanted to try to get to a situation where we didn't have to bring loan players in, you know, if the right one had been available that we thought could improve us and was within our structure, then we certainly would have done it. But I think we're in a good position at the moment, not having Annie, to a possibility of maybe trying to bring, you know, one or two in.
Is there a possibility we may see some players leave the Albion today? And if so, what sort of areas of the team?
No, I couldn't say it categorically, but I think if you ask me now, then I don't think anybody will be leaving. No, but of course, as I say, the window's till 5 o'clock, and possibly, you know, there's a request, a late request. But my opinion at this moment is I don't think anybody will be leaving.
Just on that one, Chris, in terms of loans out, I know you sort of said last week that the only sort of candidate probably would be Jake Forster-Kasky. So is it just quiet on that front, or have you sort of looked at it and decided?
No, I think it's a combination of both, and I think when I made a reference to Jake, certainly as regards anybody here, I'm not desperate to get anybody out. You know, we've got a good competitive squad, and Jake's, you know, he's a very good young player, but he is one that's found it hard. I think with the system I've played, I think he's found it hard to get games, and he is on the back of a good and enjoyable spell at MK Dons. So certainly, if there was an opportunity, it's something that I would listen to, but I'm certainly not desperate to get him out.
Just one final thing on the loan market in general. Obviously, you started off with a situation, you lost Gayton, so you're looking at extra cover, as it were. You've got Liam left back, then Sam gets injured, you're looking at strong. Give us a feel for how difficult has it been trying to get in one or two players that you would like?
Well, I don't think it's I don't think it's been that difficult, because I think we're in a position where we would like to improve if we can, but I'm not desperate. And as I say, if we went through the end of the window and we hadn't brought anybody in, then, you know, I'm not going to be too disappointed, because, as I say, we have to work around situations. We have got some flexible players that can play in a couple of positions, and we are competitive at the moment. So I certainly wouldn't be desperate, unhappy if we weren't able to bring somebody in. But we have a responsibility to try and maximise this period. We go through some tough games, of course, in December, and we have two weeks where we have midweek games as well. So if we can cover ourselves that way, if we can improve that way, then we will. But as I said, if we don't, then I say I'm certainly not too unhappy.